the PHP break and continue statement. The break statement can also be used or is used to jump out of a loop, just like what we had in the switch statement. So what it does is it breaks the loop and jumps out of it entirely. It stops your loop from running. The next one is continue. The continue statement breaks one iteration in the loop. That is, if a specified condition occurs and it continues with the next iteration in the loop. So if you don't understand it, let's do it in the code and you will get it correctly. So first, we create our opening and closing PHP tag. First, let's try this with the while loop, okay? So I'm going to create a break and a continue statement using the while loop. So the first thing we do is let's initialize our variable I. You can use any variable. So I'm going to make this one 0 this time. So I say while, so I'm going to use the while loop first. And what is the condition we want to check? So as long as I is less than or equal to 10, let's use a very short one. Then let's do echo. This is number I. Then break. Okay. Then last but not the least, our increment value. So I'm going to open this in the new tab so you see it will run correctly. So we have an error somewhere. Oh, sorry, I didn't put the I there. So good. It runs correctly from 0 to 10. 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Now, if we introduce a break into it, so to use break, you have to put it in the if condition. You remember if statement. So we say if variable I is equal to 5. Okay, let's jump out at 5. If it is equal to 5, what should it do? It should break. And what happens now when we do this? You can see just before, immediately I became 5, it broke out of the loop. So we did not even have the value of 5. The opposite of break is continue. So if I comment break out and I use continue just under it, so if I use continue statements, you will see what will happen. So first, break is going to break your loop or break the code from running entirely when the condition is met. But what happens with continue? Let's see. So if I is equal to 5, continue. All right. So let me reload this. It's taking some time. Don't know why that is happening. Okay, let me stop that and check the break again. Break should work. Yeah, break is working. So if this is equal to 5, then it should continue. So take that out. Okay, let's not waste time on this. Let's do this with the for loop. So this is while loop example. I will come back to it. So let's do it with the for loop. But before we go to the for loop, the reason why this code kept running was because we are no longer incrementing. So since it continues, we have to increment the value of I again because the code has to continue, okay? So if we run this now, oh, no semicolon. So as you can see in the while loop, because we had to increment it so that when it gets back in here, the code can run continuously again. Now, let's do this using a for loop. So I'm going to comment all the while loop out. Okay. Now let's create a for loop. So we say for I is equal to 0. We also don't need this anymore. Okay, so we don't need this anymore. We've done that inside of here. Then now we set the condition I is less than or equal to 10. Then I plus plus. And what do we want? Let me just copy our statement from inside of the while loop. So I just paste that here. Trying to collapse that. Okay, so this is the for loop. So now let's run this. You see the for loop still runs correctly, but now we can use our break again. So we say if variable I is equal to, let's use 6 this time, then it should break out. Okay, now let's reload this. And as you can see, as soon as it got to 5, when the condition became 6, it break out. That is why the 6 was not shown. What if we want to continue? It's simply as just typing continue. Don't need to increment because the increment is being done here. And if we reload this, you can see when it got to 6, the value of 6 was skipped. So continue is going to skip. So when we got to 6, 5, 6. For 6, it says continue, so it jumps to 7. So you can use the continue statement to skip or to join a line of code. So this is it, guys, on PHP break and continue statements. I will see you in the next one.